zachitika kuti zachitika nthawi zanji kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani musakhale nawo gulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko mwanu momwe zisamakuphonyeni.
I urge the government to summon South Africa. We can even stop importing anything from South Africa because it needs action. With these few remarks, I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Aphungu amene tinawayika m'mipando kuti azikatiyankhulira ku nyumba ya malamulo lero anachitenga chinthu cha mtengo wapatali komanso chofunikira pamene Parliament yayambanso mwezi uno kuti ayambe ndi kuunika nkhani ya anthu amene akuvutika mdziko lija la South Africa kuti kodi ngati Malawi tikhoza kupanga bwanji kuti anthu amene adzabwererenso takhani pomwepo pamene aphungu osiyanasiyana akuperekanso maganizo osiyanasiyana wena kuti bwanji anthu amene akupanga business kuno koma ndi aku South Africa nawonso athe kubwerera kwawo ngati momwe akuchitira mdziko lija la South Africa. Ena kuti kupeza njira yabwino ngati kukambirana kuti mavuto ngati amenewo athe kutha kuti asazayambirenso takhani pomwepo kuti tithe kumva kunena kuti nyumba ya malamulo aphungu anafotokoza motani kumeneko takhani pomwepo.
This August House to present a state report of government's facilitated voluntary repatriation of Malawian nationals from the Republic of South Africa, and also on the situation of Malawians in South Africa. This is following the outbreak of anti-migrant demonstrations and vigilante violence in that country, and to seek the support and resources of this House to sustain and to conclude the exercise in a manner that protects and preserves the dignity, safety, and security of our nationals affected by this crisis. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, the Republic of South Africa hosts the largest concentration of Malawian nationals outside our country. The majority of our compatriots there are employed in the informal sector and in the lower bracket of the labor force, in agriculture, construction, and retail. The majority of them reside in townships, farms, and informal settlements, often alongside South African citizens, a proximity that has historically rendered them vulnerable to anti-foreigner sentiment. The crisis that has unfolded since last April this year is the most severe to affect Malawians in many years. From late April 2026, organized vigilante groups, including one calling itself the March and March Movement, and later joined by Operation Dubula, and other local groupings, began threatening, physically attacking and displacing foreign African migrants across South African provinces. The Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal were the initial flashpoints. In St. Francis Bay, approximately 270 Malawians were given a 7-day ultimatum to vacate the area. In Harding Town, KwaZulu-Natal, 147 Malawian nationals were barred from their workplace for over a month, leaving many destitute and facing eviction. Unfortunately, a significant number of the affected nationals held expired travel documents or had none on them and lacked the means to fund their own return home. By the end of May and through June, the violence had spread further to various areas in the Western Cape, Free State, and Gauteng provinces. Mr. Speaker, Sir, honorable members, as the situation escalated, the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODMA, activated its emergency response plan. An interagency task team comprising officers from the department, my ministry, and the Ministry of Health and Sanitation was dispatched to the Republic of South Africa to augment the efforts of our mission in Pretoria and consulate in Johannesburg, which had been inundated with distress calls from affected nationals. Government of Malawi, through the Malawi High Commission in Pretoria, facilitated the repatriation of the first group of distressed nationals, 154 in number, from Mossel Bay in the Western Cape, who returned home on 8 June 2026. It is with a heavy heart, Mr. Speaker, sir, that I inform this House of the tragic loss of life directly connected to this crisis. On 5th May 2026, a bus carrying fleeing Malawians was involved in a fatal crash in the Motoko district, Zimbabwe, near the Nyamapanda border post, claiming 15 Malawi lives. On 7th May 2026, a passenger bus originating from Mzuzu, traveling through Limpopo province, South Africa, was involved in a fatal crash near Louis Chart, in which 8 Malawians perished. Further fatalities have since been recorded among nationals in transit at the Nyamapanda and Mwanza border posts. Government facilitated the repatriation of the remains of the deceased and rendered support to survivors and bereaved families. In the case of the Louis Trichardt crash, the bus operator came in to bear the cost of the repatriation of the remains of the deceased nationals. Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, may I request the August House to rise and observe a minute's silence in honor of the departed nationals. Thank you. May their souls rest in peace. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, by early June, an estimated 10 to 15,000 Malawian nationals, many of them women and children, had gathered at a temporary shelter at Sherwood Hall in Durban, seeking assisted repatriation, even as South African authorities pursued parallel deportation proceedings through a dedicated fast-track court established in Durban. On 10th June 2026, nearly 1,000 Malawians were removed from the Lindela Repatriation Center by the South African authority in a single day. Confusion arising from the use of police vehicles and mandatory court appearances triggered unrest at the Sherwood camp on 17th June 2026, which was subsequently contained following clarification between our mission and South African authorities. I would like to report, Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, that following sustained diplomatic engagement by the Malawi government and on the ground in South Africa by the Malawi High Commission through the South Africa Department of International Relations and Cooperation, on 19th June 2026, the South African Department of Home Affairs changed its approach from deportation to supported voluntary repatriation. Under this arrangement, our nationals are now only required to submit fingerprints and complete a simplified exit form without further court appearances. I should hasten to mention, Right Honorable Speaker, that the South African government has, out of its own volition, supported the voluntary repatriation process with buses to accelerate the process. The government has also, in an extraordinary manner, availed expertise and officers to expedite the fingerprinting, escort, and clearance process of the masses that are currently returning home. The government of Malawi, for its part, deployed approximately 55 buses to ferry returning nationals from the Mwanza border post, with receptions initially coordinated at Kamuzu Stadium in Blantyre, and since 25th June 2026 at Joyce Chisulo Stadium in Mwanza. I have been to both places to receive them and to assure the returns that they have returned home, and that this government will do everything. The government of Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika will do everything possible to ensure that they are received and they have something to do at home. However, I would like to mention that the responsive shift in the reception center from Kamuzu Stadium in Blantyre to the Mwanza Stadium, Joyce Chisulo Stadium, has enabled a faster turnaround of the processes, hence enabling our returning nationals to be processed faster upon reaching home. I should also acknowledge the support and assistance rendered by the various non-governmental and community organizations in South Africa, without which our nationals would have suffered more given the crisis conditions which they had to persevere. Here at home, government through DODMA has continued to receive support from corporate sector, individuals, and NGOs. I should also take this opportunity to thank a number of individuals and organizations who gave money to facilitate the speedy movement of the buses, or to the release of buses to bring the people here. At the appropriate time and upon reconciliation of the support received, the DODMA will inform the nation accordingly the assistance we received from the individuals concerned. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, let me inform this House that the number of nationals seeking assisted repatriation continue to rise, notwithstanding the numbers already processed. In recent weeks, a further dimension has emerged, with over 700 plus Malawians having crossed into Mozambique through informal routes ahead of the 30th June deadline set by vigilante groups, and are currently in Maputo awaiting onward repatriation. Our mission in Maputo reports an exponential increase in the number of nationals arriving from South Africa through this route. According to DODMA, as of July 2026, an estimated total of 30,000 nationals are reported to have returned home. I repeat, according to DODMA, as of 6 July 2026, an estimated total of 30,000 nationals are reported to have returned home. We are therefore indebted to the generous efforts of the government and people of Mozambique extended to our nationals at the hour of need. This has included food and emergency assistance, transportation, and security to the affected nationals. We shall forever remain grateful for this support. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, government's diplomatic response to this crisis has been robust and sustained as follows. Firstly, in May 2026, I personally, through my ministry, invited the South African High Commissioner to Malawi to convey government's grave concern and to call for the immediate protection of our nationals. Secondly, on 11th May 2026, in my capacity as chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation, I led a high-level consultative ministerial organ, Troika, engagement in Nairobi, Kenya, together with the United Republic of Tanzania and the Kingdom of Eswatini, and together we engaged with our South African counterpart to press on for a coordinated regional response to the crisis. Third, on 24th June 2026, I held a further bilateral engagement with Honored Ronald Lamola, MP, the South African Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, which secured South African commitment to stabilize the situation and to facilitate an orderly and dignified repatriation process. And fourth, His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, President of the Republic of Malawi, has also personally engaged His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa on this matter. Malawi is further consulting at this moment with the SADC organ Troika, with the concurrence of the Republic of South Africa, for SADC to undertake a structured engagement with South Africa on the developing situation in the SADC member state. Our missions in Pretoria, Maputo, and Harare, and consulates in Johannesburg and Tete remain in constant engagement with host authorities in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique to secure safe, dignified, and orderly transit of our returning nationals. In this regard, and as the country's chief diplomat, I would like to acknowledge the selfless efforts by our diplomatic representatives in the Republic of South Africa, the Republic of Zimbabwe, and the Republic of Mozambique for their sacrifices and very commendable work in support of their fellow citizens in distress. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, this crisis has exacted a heavy humanitarian toll. Women and children constitute a significant proportion of the affected population, and some pregnant women have given birth while in transit camps and on the tough journey back home. The influx of returnees has placed considerable strain on reception infrastructure at Mwanza and Blantyre, and on reintegration services in the national's home districts. Affected persons have lost livelihood and homes, in addition to the tragic loss of life already reported. And the psychological impact on returnees, including children, cannot be overstated. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, this repatriation exercise has required significant and budgeted expenditure on transport, camp management, temporary reception, food, health, screening documentation, and reintegration support, for which neither the Department of Disaster Management Affairs nor my ministry holds a standing provision of this scale. I further would like to report that DODMA has submitted budgetary resource requirements for funding consideration to the Treasury in view of the dynamic situation of the crisis. DODMA is continuously engaging Treasury on this matter. I therefore would like to appeal to this honorable House to consider and support the expeditious release of the resources required, and to note that our missions in Pretoria, Maputo, and Harare, our consulates in Johannesburg and Tete, and the reception point at the Mwanza border post all require additional personnel to cope with the volume of work generated by this crisis. In closing, Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, let me assure this august House that our government, through the Intercluster Repatriation Task Force, chaired by the Department of Disaster Management Affairs and comprising my ministers and other relevant institutions, remain fully seized of this matter and will continue to coordinate an end-to-end response until every Malawian national wishing to voluntarily return home has done so safely and with dignity. We remain grateful for the cooperation extended by the government of South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe throughout this exercise. Government will also develop an exit plan and a standing contingency framework to guide our response to similar emergencies in future, and will keep this House updated as the exercise progresses towards its conclusion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you all for your attention, and I look forward to the support of this honorable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, for that statement. Indeed, as Parliament, we do sympathize with our fellow citizens who are meeting all these problems on their way from South Africa. Honourable members, I now open the floor. If you have questions, but I see Leader of Opposition. Over to you, Leader of Opposition.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, where is now, because it was this very morning that I was engaging the leadership from the government side, because I wanted also to come in, either using Standing Order 13. But however, I was assured by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs that he would be presenting a statement that he has presented. So allow me, Right Honorable Speaker, that I add my voice on the statement that the Honorable Minister has presented before the House. I don't know whether I am audible. Hello.
Please, go closer to the mic and speak up, Leader. I need you to speak with power.
Like this? Hello, Honorable Speaker. Am I audible enough now? Right Honorable Speaker, I stand this morning, Honorable Speaker, very disappointed, wounded, and concerned by the continued xenophobic attacks in the Republic of South Africa, as highlighted by the Minister. Right Honorable Speaker, we are disappointed because the very people who helped build South Africa are now being attacked, displaced, and told they do not belong there. But I would like to draw your attention, Right Honorable Speaker, and the House, number one, on our shared history and contribution. Right Honorable Speaker, from the year 1967 to 1990, this government had a program with the government of South Africa called TEBA, the Employment Bureau of South Africa. Malawians went to South Africa under this bilateral agreement, and our fathers and brothers worked in the gold mines of Watersrand in Johannesburg, Landfontein, Springs, Kruisberg, and in the gods of Free State and several other places in South Africa, including Mpumalanga. Their labor dug the gold that built Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Their sweat powered South Africa factories and railways. Their remittances back home built schools, clinics, and homes across Malawi. Not only did, Mr. Speaker, sir, we worked in mines. Mr. Speaker, sir, we built families. Malawians men married in South Africa, and they gave birth to South African grandchildren. And today, thousands of people of Malawians' descent were born in South Africa. Mr. Speaker, this is the only country some of them know as their home. Some of these Malawians by descent there, Mr. Speaker, sir, are serving in the political system. They are in civil service and private sector. And some of our own now occupy high positions in that country. To tell these citizens to go back to Malawi is a violation of their human right. We contributed the very seed, Right Honorable Speaker, that helped build and beautify South Africa. Right Honorable Speaker, we also stood with South Africa in its liberation struggle. Clement Kadari, for instance, one of our own from Malawi, assisted the African National Congress and was imprisoned on Robben Island for that cause. Right Honorable Speaker, one of the sons of this country, Honorable Yatuta Chisiza, hosted Oliver Tambo, one of the statesmen in South Africa, in the very same country during the apartheid era. Mr. Speaker, sir, we gave South Africa a refuge. We gave South Africa solidarity. Our blood is in South African freedom. Therefore, we share quite a lot of history and contribution. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, I have a direct message to the government of South Africa. The House must speak plainly. If you listen to what the Honorable Minister has said this morning, you will see that our people are really suffering. 30,000 Malawi. A sovereign government cannot allow any group, however vocal it is, to become more powerful than the state and the rule of law. When mobs loot shops, burn property and kill people, as we've heard, with impunity, it means the state is failing in its duty to protect life and property. Right Honorable Speaker, we must ask the government of South Africa directly, are you hiding behind xenophobic groups, or will you confront it? The Constitution of South Africa guarantees the rights of all people in that country, and that includes Malawians and all Africans. Honorable Speaker, let us also speak of reciprocity and fairness. Today, Right Honorable Speaker, South African companies operate freely and profitably in this country. Our banks, our shopping malls, money transfer services, transport companies, and many others are South Africa owned. They employ Malawians, of course, they serve Malawians, but they are protected by the Malawian law. Right Honorable Speaker, so we ask, should we now tell our people to close these businesses here? The answer is no. We cannot respond hate with hate. Malawians will not do that because we believe in Ubuntu. But South Africans must understand that brotherhood and investment work both ways. Right Honorable Speaker, you cannot enjoy our market, or they cannot enjoy our market while our people are being attacked. Number three, Right Honorable Speaker, human costs, our detaining brothers and sisters. I have really appreciated what has been included in the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister this morning. The images that are coming from South Africa are very painful. Just last evening, I watched a clip, I think one of the MP's forums, where a young girl is actually complaining. And if you hear and listen to that clip, you would actually see that our people are in deep pains. Right Honorable Speaker, families are fleeing with only the clothes on their backs. Some are returning with young children who are entirely innocent, yet have become victims of circumstances they did not create. These children were born in South Africa. They speak African languages. They now find themselves stateless in their own minds. Right Honorable Speaker, these returnees are not strangers. These are part of our society. They are Malawians, and we have a duty to receive them with dignity. My appeal to government, Right Honorable Speaker, is that, as the Minister has already alluded to, arising from these issues I have raised and the Minister has raised, we are appealing to the government of Malawi to act immediately and comprehensively as follows. Number one, diplomatic engagement, as he has already said, to summon the South African High Commission and send a high-level delegation to Pretoria immediately to demand protection for Malawians still in South Africa and compensation for those who have lost property and livelihoods. Number two, the National Resettlement Program. We need to establish a task force under the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODMA, and the Ministry of Homeland Security to provide land for settlement, temporary housing, and transport from the border to home districts. Number three, cushioning measures. We need to provide immediate food and non-food items free health care for returnees, fast-track school placement for their children, psychosocial support and startup grants for traders and artisans. Number 4, data and documentation. We need to work with chiefs and consuls to
zachitika kuti zachitika nthawi zanji kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani musakhale nawo gulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko mwanu momwe zisamakuphonyeni.